Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Rashmi over the next 60 minutes, including Q&A. But before we begin today's session, please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat section will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. So please feel free to drop all your questions in the chat section. Let me bring in Veena, our speaker for today's session. There you go. Let me get your screen up. Yes, Veena, your screen is up. The floor is all yours.
Yeah, thank you, Rashmika. Yeah, should we start?
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Hey everyone. So today we'll be um, learning about AI in CMS and how to get started with those. And we all know, okay, before we dive into the topic, so this is me, Veena PD. So I'm a tech consultant and a SaaS architect, and I do work with some of the AI agents as well. So in my learning, I thought, why can't I bring up this the most used CMS related, how we can use the AI in CMS basically. So why to wait? Let's get started. So firstly, when it comes to content management system, we usually use it for the sake of blogs and for the sake of products listing and so and so. It's like basically it's a tool to store your content, and where you add some of the information regarding the best SEO kind of keywords, all those things. Like basically, it's often done manually, and we will add these all kind of keywords, attributes by our own. So all this is like done by manually. Like let's say in this whole flow, will like in this whole presentation, we'll be focusing on blog post alone. So in this blog post, like writing the blog post, etc. So this is a basic kind of requirement for any kind of business or any kind of brand placement. So basically, it's sending out the information, a piece of information to the world saying, uh, yeah, this is what our brand does, and this is what we know, and we are sharing. This is a piece of content basically. So when we say blog, that is not just about the placement, the title, the content, and conclusion will be included, and along with these, we'll be having the what I can say, the images, creatives part, correct? So this is all about it. It's not just about creating one blog somewhere and publishing. So when it comes to huge generating huge amount of content, it is kind of time consuming. That is how it is done. Like let's say if you want to write a blog, previously before AI, it used to take a lot of time, and the constraints were like the people who are writing the blog, they should be good at English writing. And later we came across some of the tools like Grammarly and all, where the grammatical mistakes were corrected. And yeah, like after then, once the content is ready, we used to add it in some kind of a tool, like blog publishing tools, and we used to hit publish. Like we used to put it in a draft, and yes, we used to hit publish, right? So this is how the flow used to be when it comes to blog creation and publishing. So when we say blog creation of that content, it is not just about blog alone. Even those keywords, what we use in the content, matters a lot, to help the search engine to identify like what the post is speaking about, basically. So SEO also plays very much important role. So that's again a huge task to get a proper keywords and all those things, right? And yeah, when it comes to personalization, we okay, when I say personalization, this is nothing but recommending what suits for the users based on their behaviors. For this, like I could say, like let's say I'm a techie, right? So I'll be reading most blogs related to tech related, not other. So if someone who is interested in psychology, for them it is better to give the information from the website related to psychology related, correct? So that's called as a personalization. Instead of just bombarding with all kind of a content, especially in certain pages, we have to provide the information for the users based on their uses, like use cases, like what are the what are their likes and dislikes basically. Yeah, this was a kind of a pain point previously. The content creation was taking a lot of time, and of course, SEO optimization was kind of a problem. And the personalization, like it used to suck like a lot of key parameters that we need to consider. So these were kind of manual struggles we used to have when it comes to content management before. And yeah, when it comes to content manager aspects, he was taking care of this content creation and SEO kind of optimization, the keywords, finding the keywords, etc. And when it comes to the technical part, it's basically how this content are being represented and how the personalization can be implemented in the code. So this part we used to take care much, and some holders for SEO optimization. But the problem here was the time that it was consuming to create all these things, to find the right keywords, and to implement this kind of personalization at the level of like basically at the user's level. That was a kind of a huge cumbersome process that we faced previously. Yeah, like when it comes to AI, how this AI have revolutionized the CMS platforms basically. So when it comes to AI, right, this is a kind of a notion like AI will replace everything. No, not like that. Like basically, AI is helping us in order to automate certain repetitive tasks, and this is one of the best example, right? So when we say content creation, like as we are speaking here, it's about blog posts, correct? So it's about creating a blog content for a certain topic. That's kind of a whole research that is involved in that. And again, this SEO keywords, finding those keywords, this is simple, like given a topic, and you're doing the research and getting some output. This was a kind of repetitive task that people used to do. So AI have helped a lot in this realm, correct? So it helps in automating these repetitive tasks and improving the content creation and the quality as well. How, you can ask? Because AI is been fed with lot of good informations across. It is not just we got a better kind of models nowadays where we have the information not just from the Google search. It is also from certain scriptures and all, like it's from books, scriptures and all. So we can get a high quality kind of a content, and personalization is a kind of very easy to do in this. And SEO optimization, of course, it gives appropriate keywords within few seconds. So it's obviously a very much time improved quality with less time. We are getting this improved quality of a content within a less time. So when it comes to AI creation, what I said previously, for the content creation, we have some of the tools that we can use with respect to text-based content. Okay, let me say here, Veena, why just text-based content? Why can't we go with images also? Nowadays, we are seeing good images also, but when we see the progress yet, the images what AI is generating is not up to the mark. Like it is far more, difference in what we create. and what the AI agents are creating right now, what AI models are creating right now. So I'm just focusing on AI textual based content, which is far more better to use in a production ready applications, right? Okay, so coming to this, with respect to content creation, we have the tools like Jasper AI, OpenAI's GPT, and Article Forge. So these are very good when it comes to writing some kind of blog post or some kind of description for a given product. Next, with respect to SEO optimization, so these are kind of different plugins, external plugins that can be added along with what we have for the content creation. So we have Market Muse, ClearScope, and Surfer SEO. And guys, tools which I'm giving. So these are the most used, like mostly used tools. Like they are kind of um, stable to use. What I can say, tested and stable to use. And yes, tools that we can use for personalization. And this, of course, these are kind of APIs which provides platforms which provides the APIs so that you can modify as and when you required. Okay, so this is a dynamic yield, and we have optimizely, and we have good headless CMS, and integrated with AI, powered with AI nowadays. Yes, so today we are going to discuss about one of the headless CMS and integrated with an AI model. Okay, so here, before we continue with this integration and how it works, we have to understand first what is headless CMS. When I say headless CMS, it's a complete different kind of application. You don't need any specific like you don't need any application altogether, like it is just when we say WordPress, it is just a website which is a responsive website, and you will get an APIs, correct, for the CMS where you store the content, etc. Just an example like that's a kind of content management system we see, usually all might have seen at some point of time. But when it comes to headless CMS, like it gives us the whole control about how you manage the content without depending on the how it looks. You can use that content on any of the platform, web, mobile. So on both these platforms, you can use it seamlessly, and whole this content will be stored, managed in one whole new setup, and it will be having its own separate database. That's a whole advantage of this. We get the APIs for this, where you can integrate with your front end or a back end if needed, if you need to make any changes. Right. So, what is the benefits of using AI in CMS? As we already saw in short, this is a kind of elaborative version of why we need AI in CMS. Of course, as we said, it's a time efficiency. So this will help developers and both content managers. So focus on strategic task rather than content planning altogether. So focusing on how that specific content or a line of content should go, and how the each line is been or what right word should be used, instead of those kind of little bit minor things. We can focus on a bigger version of that. Okay, what kind of content we can plan for this month or coming next quarter, um, and they can focus on what kind of different platforms they can target for, or those kind of business point of view in a strategic task they can plan for. And it improves the quality altogether, as we said, like it is optimized and personalized. So the content quality is of course the high, and it is basically based on the based on the target audience. It seamlessly create a beautiful articles or product descriptions altogether. And when it comes to scalability, it is very good at handling the large volume of a content, which is kind of very important. If we want to do it manually, it takes a lot of effort. So this is a very kind of good pain point that this AI is solving nowadays. AI powered CMS are solving nowadays. And of course, AI SEO enhancements. So it can able to analyze the large data set, and it improves and ensures the content is continuously optimized and keeping you ahead of your competitors. And this is kind of very important when it comes to business. So using the right keywords so that um, you stand out of the crowd. Yes, so today we will be focusing more on how the integration of this headless CMS using and along with the open AI integration. So this is basically how an architecture of headless CMS is integrated with a client, basically, along with how the whole system works altogether, how the whole application work together. So if we see here, we have this user or a client. This can be anything. It can be website, app, or iOS device which the content is being published, where the end users can consume. So here we have the headless CMS. The input will be given from this, and of course, like when we say this is not when we say user or a end user, this is not just about um, the consumer of the application or something. This is basically the one who creates. Like let's say I'm a content manager and I'm using the website or an app uh, to generate the content. I'm giving the commands or the inputs from this UI. Okay, so this input will be fed into headless CMS. So here basically I'm taking an example of Strapi or a Sanity. These two are a wonderful headless CMS that we have. And apart from this, we have Ghost CMS. And yes, like you will be knowing much more. I know you have been worked. So just put it in comments if you guys know have worked with any other than these headless CMS. Okay. Yeah. So this headless CMS will be integrated with open AI models. So here, this can be a standalone, or we also have this provider, open AI provider, with respect to Microsoft Azure. So that's also a kind of wonderful, APIs we get for seamless integration with these. And yeah, we have with other cloud providers as well. So basically, this is used for content generation and personalization, and even for we can use the same even for SEO optimization as well. If not, like we can use a specific master tools that we saw for SEO optimization. Okay, so what this does whenever we get the input, so this OpenAI will process it and it will give the proper content. Along with that, the models will be trained as and when we give the input to and forth. Okay, so it will check the previous content and the user interactions. Based on that, it will train the data and give the proper output. And we have the database where this generated content of the trained data will be stored as a data database, and we have the AI models as well. So this will be a trained separately. And yes, when it like once the data is being generated, it's been given back to the UI. And like yeah, like once it is stored, it will be given back to the UI. Okay, so now let's see some of the coding. So how this is done in the code, and how like in this example, I have taken a Strapi CMS. Yeah. So again, yeah, Strapi is just a headless CMS. Like we get access to its code. This is how it has been generated. It's a JavaScript based, code that will be generated. It's a Node.js used under the hood, right? So if you want to run this, okay, let me show you how this looks in the UI. Okay, yeah. So this is a Strapi dashboard. Here we will be having. Okay, let me just run this. So if you want to run this application, we need to use npm run develop. So I'll explain you, I'll explain the code, guys. So before that, we'll just see how this looks in the UI of the dashboard. So let me just refresh it. Yeah. So this is a new collection type that I have created for blog posts, and how this has been created. That like this collection type is created using content type builders. So here we have different type of content type builders. So this is a collection type, this is a new single type, and this is a new component. So all these three have a different kind of functionality that they handle. It's not like blindly going and creating some. So when it comes to creating new collection type, this is a kind of schema that you're gonna create for something which is repeating, like blog post. When I say blog post, you will be having multiple blog posts getting published, right? This is just one framework you will be using multiple times. This is one schema basically you will be using multiple times. But when it comes to a single type, it is just for a one time use. Let's say you're using some kind of data for home page related, a static content, home page related, or about us kind of pages. And yeah, this is a new component. Whenever you need to have a new component, you can use it. So in this part, we will be just using a new collection type. So if you see here, it is having 6 fields. If we want, we can just add as in required for the UI. Okay. So here I have used title, slug, content. Again, like this will be a body of the blog post, published as a boolean, which is true or false, and SEO title and SEO description. So these are the content fields to store the generated content from the models. Yeah, this is all about the schema that we create, and once we do this, we will be able to see this under blog posts. Yeah, so here no blog posts are created yet, and here we have, this is how, if you want to add it manually, this is how it looks. So you can just add title and slug. I have mapped it to title itself. Okay, let me show you guys that as well. So yeah, this is a name of this field, and attached field is title. So just to make it unique, right? I have just kept it as a UID. Yep. So this is where the blog post will be generated, and this is the manual part how we do it. So this is all about how Strapi dashboard looks and the minimal setup that you guys need to do it. And you have a luxury of adding the roles and users as well. So this is the users and permissions, and this is quite very much required, right? The what roles holds, like what users role holds what kind of roles and permissions to do it. Yeah. So, and also one more good thing about this headless CMS are, uh, we can have the internationalization, like multiple languages. We can have a multiple languages as well. Okay. So Yeah, this is a kind of dashboard that comes up, and yes, we can just publish that, deploy this into our own servers that we are using. It's just a kind of ready to use kind, instead of you creating this whole UI of adding the blog post, etc. This will be kind of very much easy. Yes, coming back to the code aspects. Yeah, hope the UI is visible, like coding UI is visible, VS Code. Yes, so let's dive in what is there actually in this. So this is basically a Node.js part of application. On top of this, we have the proper configuration and extensions done for Snappy framework, Strapi framework. Sorry, I'm slipping a bit. Okay, so if you see, this is a package.json file where your dependencies will be marked. So this is the name and the author related information and what kind of node modules are being installed and what is the npm version that is being used. And yes, if you can see here, it's we have SQ SQL 3. So this is a light version of the database that has been used, and we are using OpenAI SDK here, and we are using Axios for calling, making the call for OpenAI. And these are all the plugins or basically the packages related to Strapi, which we will be using in this application. Yeah. So once this application is been created, this blog post part will not be there. It's a kind of a fresh start. The collection types, like as soon as you add it in the dashboard, so this will start appearing here under blog post. A new blog post collection is created with its whole new controllers, modules, a holder. Basically, these are kind of a holders for this. You can add your custom um, code in order to modify how it works. Okay. So yeah, once you build this application, so this build folder will be filled with all these files, which are compressed files, basically the same JS files, which in a compressed format, which is ready to build. This is a build artifact that we're gonna get. And yes, this is a config where we use the database. Yeah, as I said, this is a SQLite client. So this you can replace with a high-end database that you need later, and you can just give the name, file name, and of course this is a server.js, and this will be created as soon as you log into the application. This is just a kind of example application, hence I am showing this, and this secret should not be shown to anybody. So please make sure this should be added in the env file. Okay, so just to show here, I'm just this is an example, guys, basically. Okay. Yes, so we have the functions for the bootstrap and the cron jobs if we want to add it, so we can have the logic over here, and whenever we get 404, how that should be shown, etc., will be added here. So for this I have not put up the code, because I want you guys to know what exactly you will be getting when you install the Strapi, like initially, and how this looks and what are the features that we have so that we can change it. Okay. So this is a kind of configuration and the extensions that we can have. Yeah. Yes. So when it comes to the collection type that we just created, This will give us config, controllers, models, and services. So these will have in these I have created a OpenAI service. So this will have the code to call the OpenAI model basically. Okay. So this is a function to generate content. So here again I'm using Azure's guys to make the API call for OpenAI. Right? This is just a normal JavaScript function which is used in Node.js. And so we have a try block and catch block. In try block we have added the Azure's call, making a call for this URL with this information in headers. Okay. So the model I'm using here, it's GPT-3 model, and we will be passing the prompt. Yeah, this prompt we will be giving it from our own system in the controllers, so that this prompt we can add it however we want. Actually, this is a kind of a control that we have. Like, let's say you're doing the same content creation in a separate environment like ChatGPT directly. So there you have to say, okay, for this content, I need a uh, okay, for this kind of a topic, I need a content with a kind of humanized voice that should include a humor, and that should include a proper structure like introduction, content, and some quotes, etc., etc. So this is known as a kind of custom instruction that we will be giving, right? So that's a prompt. That's what we called a prompt. What we need, we are instructing the model. Yeah, this is what we need in a simple terms. In a simple terms, what we see. And this prompt, we will be adding it from the controller here. So this will be a uh, custom injected basically. And this is the max tokens that it can take. Here I have given 500. Since it's a blog post generator, we need the tokens a more itself. It's not just three or four, right? Yep. Yeah. So temperature is set to zero point 0.7, and headers. Of course, we need this because OpenAI, like we will be using the token generated, and like we will be using it as a authorize in the authorization. So we will be having the API key for this, and like unless we send this, we won't be getting the data from the model basically. And the content type what we are expecting is as a JSON format. Okay, so whenever we get the response, it is the response dot data dot choices of first and dot text, which is in a textual format. We want that response. Okay, and yeah, whenever we get an error, we have to make sure it is being handled properly. Hence, we have a catch block. So this is about generating a content. When it comes to SEO details, this is a different function like handling how SEO details are being fetched. Okay, so here again we are having an API call that has been made, and here the prompt, like since this is a kind of a static kind of a prompt which will not be changing much because SEO keywords are keywords, guys. So we'll be picking it up with a certain data like title or the description, correct? We will not be changing these. So here we will be prompting like to generate the SEO optimized title and the description for the content which has been generated previously. Okay. So here the max tokens will be 150 because we don't need much a lengthy titles and descriptions, right? It is just 150 tokens are enough with temperature of points. And this is about the precision that we want basically. And of course, yes, again, I will get the response and this part of the response within a return. And again, we are handling the errors in the catch blocks. And these two functions are being exported so that we can use it in other files. Yeah. So when it comes to, okay, these models are being auto-generated once we create a collection over here, over in the dashboard basically. So here we can see what kind of um, type it is. It is a collection type and the collection name is blog posts and all this info which is there. Okay, what is the attribute we just created there, right? So this is a schema, basically the schema of that. Yeah. So here we can have the models for that, and here we have the controllers. And in the router.json, we have this methods, different methods, what this specific content portion can handle. It is CRUD operations, right? Create, read, update, and delete. Yes, all those are being listed over here. And if we want to make any kind of a changes with respect to settings, etc., we can do this here. And related to permissions, this is not necessarily because we have the option to make the changes in the dashboard itself. But anyhow, if we want it explicitly to be written somewhere, like we can add it in the permission.js. Yeah. Yes. So this is how we configure and how to trigger the API call from this. This is just like a normal Node.js application that we do. We build it using npm build, and here like we use like npm run develop to run this application in local, and even in the server side, this is the um, command that you use to make the application run, and this is the URL where the dashboard will be running. Okay. And yes, when it comes to calling the API, so usually this API ends whatever which are there, endpoints, API endpoints which we get. So this can be called through client, as I said. So right now we are using the Postman as a client. So this will be kind of a UI for um, the content managers basically, where they'll be having the input fields for adding title, slug, and published, like to set it as a false or a true directly. And once this is done, like once this is input is done, we can just have a send button. So this will be a post method because we are sending the data to this specific endpoint where it will work on creating the content. Okay. And this will be this generated content will be appearing in the blog post right here. And of course this open API key, this you can get it generated from the OpenAI dashboard itself, and this is stored in the .env file. So this is how the whole structure works, and this is a simple example of how this looks in real time when we want to generate a content with respect to blog post. Yep. So when it comes to deployment option, as I said, Strapi is a kind of headless CMS. You can just take this whole setup and deploy it on different cloud-based solutions, or we can have it on on-premises solutions as well. So when so the pros of cloud-based solution will be it is kind of easier to scalable, and costs will be less, and automatic updates and the maintenance is being carried out by them itself. But you will not be having much control over the infrastructure and how the data is being handled, because data privacy is kind of very much important. uh, while I say this, this is basically where you will be dealing with user data. It is not just about you're creating something, like let's say you're adding some details of the products, and when you're adding the personalization kind of a thing into it, where all the data of the users will be accessed by that specific user, like specific cloud-based solution. So there will be, there will be a kind of potential risk of data privacy there. But if we have the on-premise solutions, there we will be having a full control over the data and the infrastructure that we build and how we scale, etc. We will be having a full control over it, and this is better for creating highly secured systems, which is kind of very much important. But the thing is, this takes time, and also a kind of upfront investment will be more on this, and we need a good technical back for having this. When we say about technical, like scaling the solutions, basically we need a good techie mind behind this. But this will be a kind of very secured system that we can build, and of course we have a good services as well for scale for having these infra to be deployed. Yes, we spoke about good things about AI. Yes, it helps in a lot of aspects, but it also comes with a lot of challenges. We have to keep it in mind before we directly jump into using the AI automation for CMS tasks. Okay, so the first and foremost thing will be the data privacy and security, as we discussed. Uh, and also, this is a something different, like ensuring the compliances with privacy laws is kind of very important while managing sensitive user data. So when we say creating a blog post or managing the user data, all this will comes with some kind of input that we are giving to the system. It also have the risk of data breaches during AI is getting processed, if it is not done in a right way. And content quality control, again, like it may lack creativity at some point of time, because by the end of the day machine is a machine. uh, yeah, regarding this we can just make it a little bit creative by having the prompt, by giving a excellent prompt, and consistency with a brand voice, like changing the prompt a little bit, like how if you train it properly, yeah, we can use it. But if you want to just use it directly as a raw, it is a little bit hard. And even though if you train also, when it comes to the creativity point of view, sometimes this may lack. It needs a continuous training. That's what I mean. And SEO adaptability, of course everyone are using AI, and yeah, this is a kind of a race that AI versus AI that we will come into picture in some day very nearly, maybe, if we start using this. So this will be kind of a big question mark, so we should be keeping a tab on this. And integration complexity, yes, of course, the technical challenges will be there while integrating the different models into the existing CMS, and managing the API calls and ensuring the smooth data flow and ensuring the security for the application as well. That's where the most developers fail in. So, and also this integration is not straightforward as we use the other APIs. So we have to be very mindful in what we are doing. And personalization challenges, yes, it helps, but there are also drawbacks as well. For accurate content personalization required detailed user data, and again we have to gather a lot of information from the users. to have the accuracy. 100% accuracy is not possible. That's what I mean. 100% accuracy is not possible, but it can create some kind of a resonance with the users. And we have some kind of resource and cost constraints. So initially, having the AI solutions will have its own upfront costs, and it includes the API fees. Each API hit that we'll be making, it costs us some penny, and computing resources and ongoing maintenance has to be done. Applications has to be upgraded now and then, because security patches will be uh, happening in kind of intervals. So we have to keep an eye on that. And model maintenance and retraining, I think this is a kind of very important, because it is not just a regular models, we can't use it, we have to retrain it to stay up to date with the market trends and ongoing uh, the changes that are happening, and the new data to be fed into that. And managing AI errors. AI can generate errors and inaccuracies as well, because it's just like a black box. You just give something, it will just give out something. It's like you need to, give a more inputs to get a proper results out. Yeah, this issue is there again. Errors might occur, improper information can be given. Yeah, like we'll be seeing this mostly while dealing with issues of development. Whenever we ask for some certain code snippet, it will fail to generate a proper code. That will be kind of a buggy. So yeah, AI can make errors. We should be mindful of that. We can't rely on that blindly. But if it is uh, if it has been maintained properly, kept an eye on, yes, of course it can do a 10 members job, 10 or 20 members job by one AI, right? And scalability concerns. So handling data in volume for multiple platforms and the regions are a little bit kind of a concern right now. When it comes to the data, whatever we generate with respect to English kind of a data, it's very good. But when it comes to the regional languages, this is not up to the mark, what I can say. But yeah, of course, they are working on that. Yes. And ethical considerations and the bias. This is kind of very important. Like, since this is a machine, this is not a human, so it can generate the biased or culturally insensitive content sometimes. So yeah, we have to be mindful while generating the content, and we have to see it, read through it what it has been generated, and later we need to refine it and train it accordingly, right? So yeah, how you can mitigate the challenges, how we can mitigate the challenges that comes with this AI tool. Because we say yes, AI will help us, and yes, we have other side, we have the drawbacks as well, and we have to come up with some kind of strategies in order to mitigate these challenges, right? Yes, in those aspects, the first one would be we have to have a regular audits and reviews, implement human oversight to ensure AI generated contents meet quality and ethical standards. So, as I said, this is kind of very important. This is like machine is also doing its work, and you need some people to overlook how it is working, basically, like what kind of content is being generated, whether it's ethically correct or not according to the standards, just to see through. And with these kind of combination, the content that we generate will be a kind of a very good, like it will be both quality will also be there, a less time consuming. Yes, we have to make sure security measures are taken. So we have to use the encryption and comply with privacy regulation when handling user data. This is quite very important. Otherwise, we will lose the user data which is there. Like the data breach will happen, guys. Like this is kind of a very huge impact when it comes to a huge database of a users using an application. And if this is being compromised, it will be a great problem. Then constant training needs to be done. We have to continuously retrain the AI models on a timely basis so that we will be, you know, in the trend basically. We will be knowing what's going on in the market, how the user is behaving. I think this is kind of very much important. User behaviors change. So we have to keep in track like how it is being changed and what are the content strategies that we need to change so that we can train the model accordingly. And this is where the strategy part of developer and content manager comes in. And we can have a scalable infrastructure. So this is kind of very much important where we can invest in scalable cloud-based solution to handle the increased data loads. We have good solutions for this. We have serverless solutions for this where the scalability can be handled by systems alone. And of course, again, there the setting needs to be done properly, and rest of the things is like very smooth. We don't need to worry much on those aspects once it is done setting up very properly. And cost benefit analysis, see here this is kind of very important when it comes to the business aspect. So the cost benefit of having the AI in place and how the work used to happen without AI. So basically, you have to evaluate how the ROI of AI integration and ensure that benefits overweighing the costs. See, let's say your company or performing this creation of the content for specific um, for a specific task. Like let's say if it is just a blog post creation, having this whole setup is waste if you are publishing the blog post a one or two monthly or hardly four. This is just a kind of a waste. You can just have it done by yourself. But what if you are using it for a bulk creation of blog posts and you're creating the product description in bulk and you're creating the data of specific in the form or creating the details of events, let's say. See, all these kind of where it takes a lot of time for a person to write something from the AI, how much time it is saving. And when it comes to time, it is not just a matter of time, it's a cost that people are paying for. Say for example, if I am using a certain system and that system is helping me to generate some certain kind of a content within a fraction of seconds where I can just make some kind of modification and proceed further, is much easier, and I will be willing to pay for that rather than a system where it just gives the form for me to add the content. And it is a time consuming and I have to scratch my head altogether to have my content put onto the form and get it ready. And again, it's a kind of user experience and the user demand based on which we can decide upon. Yeah, basically these are some of the strategies we can have in place in order to create a stable AI friend or a colleague, we can say, in the journey of content creation and managing. And yes, that's all for the session, guys. Thank you so much. And if you guys have any questions, you can put it in the comments. I'll be happy to help. Or you can also ping me on my LinkedIn um, directly. You guys can DM me.
Yeah, I think that would be better since we are about wrapping up the session, and we don't have much time. So, folks, please feel free to reach out to Veena. And if you have any questions, ask her. I think she'll be able to answer one on one better. Uh, Thank you so much, Veena, for hosting this session. And thank you all for joining us today. Please visit Microsoft Reactor website for more upcoming sessions. Also, please scan the QR code and do share your feedback. Today's event ID is 25540. Thank you all once again and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Rashmika. Thank you all.